Possibly. But if you something that gets a big report about this, they haven't read it. But anyway,
Good evening, councillors. Welcome to the first meeting of the full Town Council of 2026. If I could first of all, I've got a few opening remarks, if I could go through those. There's just three of them. So first I was just going to say it's good to see so many Sandwich Town councillors at the funeral of our former Mayor Jeremy Watts. By all accounts, he was a highly respected mayor who served the town with great dedication, giving 28 years of service as a councillor and 2 years as a mayor. The second thing I want to mention is this Friday I will be joined by Councillors Gray, Wiles and Black, along with the town clerk and the property manager at a meeting with the DDC head of property assets and their corporate surveyor. This meeting will cover two matters: the future of the Sandwich Agreement, particularly the potential transfer of the freehold ownership of the Guildhall and forecourt from DDC to STC, and whether the agreement, the Sandwich Agreement, should be terminated. It is something that DDC approached the council back as far as 2015, I believe. So, and they did try under the previous town clerk as well. So we're going to actually have a conversation this time. And the second thing we're going to discuss is arrangements for the transfer of the ownership of a small plot of land on No Name Street from DDC to STC. All of those, depending on how they progress, will be reported into the full town council. Then finally, we do have a full agenda tonight with a number of important items to get through, including setting the budget for next year, agreeing the timetable and committee structures for the year ahead, and adopting a process for the election of the mayor and deputy mayor in May. To help us get through this in good time, could I ask members to focus on the key points they want to raise and to avoid particularly repeating points that have already been made by others? If not, we'll be here till 10:30, so it's in your gift. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I think one of the problems tonight, we've got an overdone agenda, is because we didn't have the December meeting. I'd like to insist that once we set town council meetings, we used to have 12, now it's, we do hold them on that night. We don't turn them into extraordinary. The idea of an extraordinary is that it's on another night, not on a town council meeting. And I think tonight, I mean, one of the finance, 82 pages, another one 36 pages. I mean, our brain's going to go blank.
Okay, thank you.
So,
noted.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I would say the extraordinary meeting wasn't a replacement from a.
No, but we should have the December meeting.
Okay. Well, we'll come to that point, obviously, when we get to it on the agenda. Okay, so Town Clerk, agenda item 2, apologies for absences received.
Councillor Pennington, personal commitment. Councillor Green, personal commitment. Councillor Gray, personal commitment.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 3, declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of the business to be transacted on the agenda. Members to disclose in accordance with financial regulations if they have.
So that's two separate items that need to be both be done.
Okay, so first item. Anybody? No? This is a new one, isn't it?
The internal auditor flagged it up.
Fantastic. Great. Continuous improvement. So the second one is members to disclose in accordance with the financial regulations if they have council tax unpaid for more than 2 months and therefore will not be able to vote on the budget. Is it? That's what you said.
It's according to our financial regulations, nobody that has unpaid council tax, 2 months of unpaid council tax.
That is standard practice at DDC.
Yeah.
And I think also if someone goes bankrupt, they have to pack.
Yeah.
Can't stand up, they have to stand down.
Okay. Thank you. So have we got anybody who has unpaid council tax for more than 2 months? No? Okay, moving on. Agenda item 4, we've got 2 sets of minutes to review. So first of all, attachment 4A, to approve the minutes of the full council meeting of STC held on the 24th of November 2025, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda. Does anybody have any comments? If not, would somebody like to propose them?
Propose acceptance of the minutes.
And Councillor Ripley is seconding those. If we would go to a vote on those. Okay, thank you, that's unanimous. The second is attachment 4B, and that's to approve the minutes of the full council extraordinary general meeting of STC held on the 15th of December 2025.
Propose.
And to consider any matters. That's very quick. Thank you, Councillor Marie, and Councillor Ripley seconded it. Thank you very much. And you can vote.
Okay.
Now, I need to sign these now, so keep yourselves busy.
I can do everything now.
Maybe try to do that. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you. Oops. We've been asked to receive the action log. I'll open it up in case anybody's got any comments on any of these, but I don't intend to go through all of them one by one. I will review them after the meeting with the town clerk. But just to open up to the floor if anybody's got any particular comments on any of the actions.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, could I ask about the planning enforcement, which seems to be dragging on and on? You know, we keep hearing about it's being chased up or followed up. Did you say that you were going to a meeting to meet the head of planning soon?
Yes, we have, in terms of 57 New Street, which is what today's meeting was about today.
That's
I will give a very brief update when I come to the councillors update.
super, thank you very much. And then the last one was just to do with the parking as well. It was said about the parking charges going up and the parking strategy changing. And I just wondered if Councillor Morehouse or somebody could update us about what's going on there, if possible.
So the Cabinet decided to ignore the unanimous decision of the Scrutiny Committee to at least delay the implementation. But we don't have an implementation date. I have, on the meeting that I will attend on Wednesday, I have submitted a question for the Cabinet member referring to why the Cabinet chose to ignore the advice of the Scrutiny Committee. But as a follow-up question, I will be asking about the implementation date. And I'm sure I'll be reminding Dover District Council, the controlling group, of the implications of this charge, because this is taking the daily charge up from £10.85 to £13.85, which is wholly disproportionate.
Because it will affect the economy of the town, obviously, massively. Thank you for that answer.
Yeah, and I would say separately, I had a meeting with Councillor Mallet, actually, with the same officers within DDC and also the leader of DDC, and we raised concerns at that time, and that was between knowing that the proposals were discussed at Cabinet meeting before they went forward. We had a conversation.
Mr. Mayor, on our own car park, could we have perhaps a cheaper rate than the other car park?
It's
Just make sure our car park's full, bloke at Dover District, so if our car park's full, we keep it at a lower rate.
So we certainly can't whilst we're in a lease agreement
No,
with DDC. However, what we have done is agreed 1 year extension
Yeah.
to allow the property manager investigate options of whether we do want to continue beyond that with DDC, and that if we didn't continue with that lease, it then gives us the opportunity to look at the charges.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm happy to propose that we receive the action log. Somebody have to second this. Councillor Ripley, thank you very much. And vote on that. Okay. Moving on to the payment schedules. These have all been previously received at the Finance and General Purposes Committee and approved them. Now they're being brought forward to the Town Council meeting, so hopefully there won't be any concerns, but we'll go through them one by one. First of all, attachment 5A, that's to receive a note for payments for mid-November, end of November, mid-December, end of December. Those payments which are not supported by a minute reference have been authorised by officers with delegated powers of expenditure. Any comments? Comments?
Happy to propose.
Second.
Okay, moving on to attachment B, that's council to confirm.
It's not an attachment.
Actually, no, it's not, yeah, apologies. So yes, we only have the schedules we've gone through. So we've now got nominations of 2 signatories to authorise, firstly, the mid-February payment schedule on Bank Line. I'm happy to put my name forward. Anybody else who's Bank Line proficient?
I don't mind.
Councillor Franklin has jumped at that one. Okay. And then the other is for nomination of 2 signatories to authorise, we'll come back and propose in a minute, authorise end of February payment schedules on Bank Line. Councillor Wiles is happy to put his name forward. Somebody else? Okay, I'll put my name forward again. Okay, so can I propose
There's
those?
no payment dues, there isn't there on any of these?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
Happy to
I'll
second.
second that.
Yes, I proposed,
I'll second it.
Councillor Black seconded. We can vote. That's unanimous as well, thank you very much. Right, moving on, agenda item 6. This is financial statement, cash book, bank reconciliations and budget variance and forecast reports. Again, these have all been received and approved by F&GP committee. Attachment 6A, to receive and note the Sandwich Town Council bank reconciliation as for October and November 2025. If there's no comments, somebody have to propose. Councillor Marie, Councillor Carter, P seconding. Okay. Attachment 6B, to receive and note the financial statement cash book as for October and November 25. Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Marie seconded. Okay. And finally, attachment 6C, to receive and note the budget variance reports for the year to the 30th of November 2025. Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Black. And we should vote on all those as well, actually. And that's all unanimous across those 3. Thank you. Right, it's going really well. Agenda item 7, public participation. 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations. Have we got any requests?
No.
No, thank you very much. Right, agenda item 8, and that is attachment 8 in the pack, external audit for 24-25. Members to receive a signed and completed external audit from Mazars LLP. I don't think you need to do anything with that, do we? Apart from
It's just to let the council know that it's been all complete and it's done and it's whatever.
Propose noting the report.
yeah. I'm happy to second that. So we vote on that. That's unanimous as well. Thank you very much. Right, so this is one of the key elements for tonight. So this is the budget for 26-27. So what I was going to say was the budget setting exercise has been subject to scrutiny by the Finance and General Purposes Committee on 3 occasions. It's been to the meetings in November, December and January. The meeting in January approved for the budgets to be put to the full Town Council meeting tonight. The headline is that the increase that we're seeking is 5% based on last year's amount, and that represents an increase from £149.90 for the year, Band D, moving up to 157.40 for the year. Do you want to talk to this at all, or do you just seek any comments? Because I think it's very self-explanatory.
The RFO has written a very comprehensive report. I asked him to do that, to just sort of highlight the changes between last year and this year. And as well as that, there is a line-by-line variance report attached to the budget on 9B. So, I mean, I can answer your questions.
So I would say in addition is, I mean, the key thing is, ideally, of course, we'd want to have no increase or maybe even a reduction, but We have got a substantial building maintenance programme that is reflected in the budget for next year. So it's important to recognise that we are trying to catch up from a number of years of not focused by councils on the maintenance programme that's being done now. We've also got some actions that will be taken by officers, which is to grow the trust investments and event revenues for the council and this building. And obviously to recognise the payroll represents the single largest expenditure on the budget. However, there is a reduction on the staffing budget from this year into next year. So, Councillor Marie.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As part of the finance committee that I've been heavily involved in, the RFO has done an amazing job trying to keep stuff down to a minimum with what has been. Obviously, things are bad times regarding cost of living still going up, etc. We did go through this with a fine tooth comb regarding councils putting bits and pieces on for their projects and stuff, and we had to go down to basics. Basically, we had to be realistic. We want to keep it down as much as we can for the residents of Sandwich. So I proposed that the report.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Yeah, it's a comment. Could the town clerk tell me about the proportioned costs? Because there's been a change, hasn't there? There'll be a proportioned costs for the trust and the town council, and that hadn't been explained why that's come about.
So there's two elements to this, and I don't have all the figures in front of me, so
Yeah.
I'll do my best. But basically, with, at the moment, there was sort of a recharge scenario, but because all of the employees are employed by Sandwich Town Council, they are paid out of Sandwich Town Council, and then we are putting the money across, putting the sort of my words, but yeah, we're putting the money across to STBF. As part of that, we had a little review. We sat in the office and said, okay, so who actually does what for which part? So, for example, the museum manager works for...
entirely.
Yes, exactly. And that is now reflected in the accounts, basically. So before, I think it was a bit grey as to where it was going, because there was things going like that. Whereas now, all employees are employees of Sandwich Town Council, and then the proportion of their wages is put in the right place, basically.
Right, I see.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you for
I'm
that.
sorry about the funny words.
So, Councillor Morehouse then,
Yes.
Councillor Frank.
Yes, regarding the 5% increase. So people will look at that as a 5% increase. I think it would be very advantageous if we are going to put out any kind of press release, how that equates for both Band C and Band D properties on what the extra cost is per week, because that will be far more measurable in terms of household incomes than just a blanket 5%. Because 5% on our budget is very, very little. 5% on KCC obviously is significantly more.
I would suggest that we probably need to align with Band D, because that's the measure that's used across the board. But you're quite right, we do need to translate that to a financial
A lot of us living in Sandwich South live in Band C houses, and I do think that we should address both wards in that respect.
If we can, Okay, Councillor Frank.
Yeah, I understand that salaries are going up, we've got all the pension and everything, and contributions going up. But I think actually maintenance of this building should really be coming out of the Tollbridge Fund. Because that's what it was set up for, to maintain our structures. I think Councillor Carter will agree with me. It shouldn't be coming out of the precept really, unless we have to. It should be like a new boiler, that £100,000, that come out of the Tollbridge Fund, didn't it?
Yes.
So the maintenance of this building has nothing to do with the precept.
So I personally haven't got the answer to where the maintenance programme affects, because it's not just this building.
Yeah.
There are
No, so
multiple buildings that we have responsibility for, including Fishergate, including
Cinema.
the cinema, including St Peter's Hall. So,
It's a whole,
so it would need to be checked, but I suspect that this reflects the STC properties, but I don't know if you have advice on that.
It does, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, because this is an STC meeting, I don't have the STC and then also the STBF budgets, but the maintenance is for the STC properties.
And also I was going to say, the ones that are privately rented, I think they're supposed to maintain the buildings, aren't they?
That's,
So, I know some of the buildings have got beyond what they can afford,
Yeah.
especially the fitness centre and the cinema.
Yeah.
But I think part of their contract was towards the maintenance.
I
think
don't,
it's just-
yeah, I don't
Well,
disagree, councillor Franklin, but, yeah,
So
sorry.
that's been, Julian's been taking a very close review with both tenants in both those properties, as to see what can be done. It's to get more rent in, but equally not get drive the businesses to
No, I
a
know.
wall. And that's the difficulty. But Julian is very active on that.
Yeah,
We've been very clear what we're responsible for.
Yeah.
The trouble is some of the really big bills are the responsibility of the tenant,
there's,
and their finances could be more robust. I think that's the best way to
yeah,
describe it.
doing that, and we've had this problem for years.
Well, exactly, and that's the problem,
Yeah.
it's this backlog.
Yeah.
So it has to be fixed, otherwise something will go seriously wrong.
Yeah, and I would add that some of the items are things that are actually the landlord's responsibility.
Yeah.
And secondly, anything that incurs costs comes through council meetings for approval, and we all get the explanations of what's been proposed for either STBF or STC to approve. So everything has been governed correctly, but obviously what the property manager has done is built into next year a number of activities he knows he has to do. Some of these are actually critical activities, and they've all been documented and they've all been shared through the various finance committees and up to full meetings.
And also previously, Mr Mayor,
Yeah.
that they've actually personally applied for grants from the Tollbridge Fund because they couldn't afford to do, the structural repairs themselves. So they have actually applied through the Tollbridge. And the cinema, after we bought new projectors for the cinema years ago.
Okay.
So they have been, we have been supporting as much as we can.
Thank you very much. Okay, so any more comments? If not, we've got 3 elements to vote on. Okay, so the first is to receive a report from the RFO detailing significant changes from the 25-26 budget. So could I ask somebody to propose receive it? Councillor Marie, seconded Councillor Black. Good vote. And that's unanimous. The second one is to receive and approve the draft Sandwich Town Council 26-27 budget as recommended by the Finance and General Purposes Committee. Councillor Marie, Councillor Ripley seconding, and we could vote on that. One abstention. Interesting. And then finally, to agree the precept for 26-27 for submission to DDC. Councillor Marie and Councillor Ripley again, could vote on that.
Sorry, can I just state
Yeah.
that so in order to have a 5% rise, in order to sort of achieve the budget, and to cap our rise at 5%, we will be asking for a precept from DDC of £348,049.14.
And we have voted on that, it was one abstention. Okay. Yeah,
Right, so
I need to
the
sign.
chair now needs to sign this in the meeting.
thank you very much.
Can I borrow your pen?
Mr Mayor, can I make a comment, please?
Yeah.
So in future, if I may, I request in future, when we do the precept, that we, instead of putting the 5% increase, because it looks rather large when you see it, we equate how much per household is paying before we put the percentages. It just makes it easy for everybody to understand, because otherwise it looks like we're hiking up taxes and we're actually not.
We have to do it
In a certain way.
in this order. You agree the budget and then you request the precept to meet the budget.
So for the band D, it represents per month an increase of 62 pence.
It just needs to make made clear to people that what's these videos.
So who proposed the precept?
Councillor Marie,
Myself, Councillor Ripley, second.
Thank you.
and it was a majority with one abstention.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item 10, and there's a verbal report from our Dover District Councillors.
Right, thank you, Mr Mayor. First of all, sincerest apologies to the Town Clerk because I neglected to send you a written account of what I spoke about at the last meeting, so I've given you extra work, sorry. First thing is from that is planning application 25/0665, and that's land on the northeast side of Deal Road, Sandwich, Charlie Tango 13 Bravo Yankee. And as you know, the outline planning application is for up to 35 market and affordable dwellings and up to 66 bed care home with a 0.8 hectare land parcel to be transferred to Sandwich Technology School for use as a sports pitch. So I'm asked if there's an appeal possible. At the moment, it's a waiting decision, but I anticipate having an answer to that particular question in time for the next planning committee meeting, which I believe will be on the 9th of February. Secondly, I attended the DDC planning committee meeting on last Thursday, the 22nd of January, to speak on behalf of Sandwich Town Council's planning committee, objecting to planning application 25/01220, and that's the change of use for 17 Polders Gardens, Sandwich, Charlie Tango 13 Bravo Echo. DDC Planning Committee unanimously voted to support the application. Having listened to the speaker for the application, they presented a very strong case, and I don't see anything that the planning committee could have voted against the application, because there was nothing materially that they could have objected to. With respect to the planning committee, or the STC planning committee held on Monday the 12th of January, I have contacted the member of the public who spoke in objection to planning application 25/01382, and that is land east of the sports pavilion in in St George's Road, Sandwich, Charlie Tango 13 Lima Delta, to offer my support. And this refers to the erection of 2 detached dwellings with associated landscaping. Moving on, I've been contacted by a member of the public regarding the felling of 2 very substantial trees on the boardwalk that were adjacent to the boundary fencing of the Salutation. And these are situated on the opposite side from where the tennis courts are. Moving on to the Keep Clear road marking signs in Moat Sol, which allow the disabled access into the co-op. Despite promises that the work would be carried out prior to Christmas, there's been no such activity. So I've asked for an update on progress with that. And on that sort of subject, can I take this opportunity to ask the Deputy Mayor if any work's been undertaken on the faded double yellow lines that you know? So that's another one to chase up. Moving, planning enforcement case, ENF/25/00278, and this is 4 Upper Strand Street, Sandwich, Charlie Tango 13 Echo Echo, and the assigned planning enforcement officer sent me an email advising that he has inspected the site, viewed the condition of the property, and taken into account its effect and impact. DDC Planning Enforcement have liaised with the Heritage team and wrote to the registered owners of the property to provide advice on what actions can be taken to prevent deterioration of the building. However, at this current moment, the property condition is not considered to cause undue harm to the immediacy of the area. Government advice identifies that local authorities should only take formal action, should not take formal action when there is trivial or technical breach of control which causes no material harm or adverse impact on the amenity of the site or the surrounding area. Development is acceptable on the planning merits, and formal enforcement action would solely be to regularise the development. And in their assessment, the local planning authority consider that an application is the appropriate way forward to regularise the situation. For example, where planning conditions may need to be imposed. Planning enforcement suggests that in this case, and bearing in mind the above advice, Whilst the internal condition of the building could be considered as scruffy, it is not considered to adversely affect the amenity of the area. Accordingly, it's not considered proportionate or expedient to take formal action. However, the site will continue to be monitored in the future. I'm sure Councillor Angus and Force will keep me updated if there's any further deterioration so we can revisit it. And finally, I attended the Overview and Scrutiny Committee last Monday. Much to the delight of Councillor Marie, Councillor Mallet and Councillor Wiles, who are heavily involved in the events. I did make a rather pithy comment about the charges for event organisers. And it was widely supported. Mark Rose, who was the former deputy chairman, Councillor Mark Rose, who was the former deputy chairman of the planning committee, did actually remind the finance director of PDC that in places in London, there's no such charge, and it's all a goodwill gesture. Thank you.
Good to know.
Thank you. I don't know if there's any comments, but I've got one comment. So, Councillor Moorhouse, thank you very much. I'll let you take breath. Yeah, I was just going to pick up on the raising of issues about 2 trees on the Bulwark. I exchanged correspondence with with open spaces and parks, parking and open spaces, parks and open spaces about 2 months ago, and they shared with me a programme of tree maintenance, which included removing trees from the bulwarks, following a tree consultant that inspected the conditions. So I think this forms part of a programme of works that was undertaken. So I'm happy to share with you in case you don't get a quick response.
Right, thank you.
But they'd surveyed all the trees along there and had identified some that were needing to be removed. Thank you very much. Councillor Green.
Yeah, thank you. Just one comment to Councillor Moorhouse. That's very good news of what was said in the review scrutiny. If he's willing to, and Councillor Nutt's willing to, that's free to get together so we can actually properly challenge these charges.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to ask Councillor Moorhouse about the appeal on the land north of the Technology School on the Deal Road. Is Dover District Council putting in that appeal? Because obviously Dover District Council were the ones that recommended approval.
It's an outline application.
Yeah.
I'm asking if it can be appealed against.
Oh, you're asking. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, I've been asked by this council to ask if it can be
That's
appealed against.
correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Councillor Anderson.
For clarifying that.
I'm very grateful to Councillor Moorhouse for telling us what's happening with 4 Upper Strand Street. It's not the only empty dwelling in Sandwich, and it's very unfortunate. I mean, I live 2 doors away from number 4. I understood that the town clerk had written to Dover District Council to query this decision of theirs. Is that
I
right?
have done that.
And have we had any response?
I get where we are. Yes, I think they said really that the wind that it was cosmetic basically. But then I went back to them and said, look at it again. But I don't think I've had a response on that. I have to have a look.
And then the place will fall down.
Councillor Moorhouse.
One thing that came out in the meeting with DDC today, and the officers are as much frustrated as we are, that the laws in this country don't give sufficient powers to enforcement teams to force owners to actually make their properties good. It's very, very weak. We're the 6th largest economy in the world, and yet we've got absolutely very little in the way of planning enforcement laws in this country. And the officer was clearly frustrated because she came into the job 2 years ago, thinking that she would be able to make a difference to 57 New Street as an example. And here we are 2 years later.
Number 4 will turn into number 57.
Yes, thank you. If you've got private property and you want a tree down, you have to get planning permission, don't you? Dover District Council, it'd be nice if they'd just consult us, just out of politeness, because I think they've got a policy of the road walk, if you look along there, they're taking trees down, but they're not replacing them with new trees. So where the Victoria, we have that lovely in the summer sheltered walkway and round the back, eventually in 50 years' time, there'll be no trees along there. I think they're worried about the town mall and the roots, disturbing it all. But it's a shame that if they could just let us know, because there've been quite a few trees took up, and there's a couple on the road, one I think one up on the but's been removed as well.
Thank you. If we could move on now, if that's all right. Thank you. Moving on to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 12. Welcome, PC Laura.
Yes.
Your opportunity.
Yes,
Good to see you.
hello.
Oh, is it?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. We can flip it. Okay. So, apologies. Councillor Evans, before you start, I just want to set context. I'm hoping you pick this issue up because we have exchanged emails. If you don't, I'll be very embarrassed by not talking about it. So, what I've asked Councillor Evans, one of the things to cover this evening, I contacted him a week ago. If you could provide an update tonight on how KCC is addressing the poor condition of road surfaces and the increasing number of potholes. A number of councillors in this room, a number of residents are regularly reporting these problems. Obviously, what that does, and it just stockpiles the challenge. The patchwork repairs that I see don't last too long. I see streets where they get patchwork repairs and then 6 months later, they're back as bad as they were. I've said to Councillor Evans, it would be helpful to understand whether there are any plans to take a different or more proactive approach to the issue and how this might benefit Sandwich, because we're all about a sandwich in this room, and the residents. By way of an example, I was aware that the KCC leader, Lyndon Kemcurran, recently gave a media interview in which he said that KCC was taking a much more proactive strategy and they were adopting it in terms of dealing with this issue. So it'd be great to hear if there's anything practical happening and how Sandwich might get its voice heard.
Basically, what we're going to be doing, we've got a lot of potholes, we're going to be doing road relays like Ramsgate Road. But that was a sort of poison challenge because we was getting a lot of complaints about it. When we accelerated the actual repair of it, which was done at night, we got a lot of complaints about that as well.
Yeah.
So it seems that you can't win because if we had to wait 3 months, we had 3 months of complaints. Talking to Councillor Morehouse about the Deal and Dover Road, I've reported it, but they're going to patch up the worst potholes. But as Councillor Morehouse said when I was seeing the other day, that's got to be coordinated and done when the schools are off because it would create absolute chaos trying to relay that bit of road when Sandwich Technology School is actually in use. So we're going to try and coordinate that. I've had other complaints. There's a Mrs. Day, I believe, just round the corner in Harley Street.
Yeah.
I'm going to take some pictures of that tonight. I've been in contact with you. I did ask her to send me some pictures of the actual pothole
Thank you.
because you sent me the pictures of the mud up the door.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will be resolved this week because that is totally unacceptable. With reference to the drains, if we get a clear day in the next week or so, I'm going to come across and I'm going to take pictures of the drains which are blocked. There's one down Butchery which I don't know if it's still blocked or not, but it's full up with pea shingles, so that tends to be a bit of a hot potato, really.
Could you let me know when you come? Because I've got some that I've reported in the past. I was told they'd be done as part of the programme in August of last year. And now we have a pool of water in a particular street that happens every time it rains.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll be looking for a break in the weather. I know it's going to be bad Thursday, but I'm off for about another 3 weeks anyway, so I'll contact you before I come. I've got a week in the weather. So we are going to be proactive on the streets. We've currently done in the last year 5,000 more potholes than what was done in the year previous for a lesser cost because we've renegotiated contracts and we're getting written into them contracts. The potholes are guaranteed as well. So hopefully the streets will be becoming better. Unfortunately, this is the worst time of the year because you get the frost and the rain, and we've also got a lot of pressure from the villages, the surrounding villages, which are having probably bigger problems you're having, I'll give you an example, Staple, there's been a couple of streets there been completely cut off, underwater, quite deep water, so we are trying to do the best we can, but you will see an improvement in the roads, I can assure you of that. Okay? So in regards to these other.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Unless anybody's got any questions on that, it's.
Yeah, sorry, number one, Gill Road, you said doing it in the school holidays.
No, it's Deal and
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree, yeah, I know where it is, I live there. Which holiday? So you're saying school holidays, you might be proposing Christmas holiday next year?
Now, hopefully, this side of Easter, I'd say,
So the Easter holiday,
hopefully we can get it done a bit before the spring season.
okay.
Because it is, I've looked at it, it's a total disgrace, it's totally disintegrating.
Yeah.
It's totally falling to pieces. And
I mean, it's good to know that. What I would say is this was about a year ago, the work started and stopped, and forever since then there's been complaints. It's a regular thing on Facebook about when are they coming back. So it would be
no,
good.
I'm on to that now, so
And then just a very
it will be being done.
quick second one with drains.
Yeah.
Can you also,
Yes.
Sandwich is two wards, so you're in the north ward.
Yeah.
If you go over the train tracks, that's what's called Sandwich South Ward.
Yeah.
Particularly where the Dill Road goes off to the school, and then you go off to Dover Road.
Yeah.
That area at that junction, which is Stone Cross,
Yeah.
always floods.
Yeah.
It always floods. And the two drains, one either side of the road, adjacent to each other, both of them are blocked.
Stone Cross, so
So that's Stone Cross, it's where Dover Road goes off and it becomes a contact. But the people that live in the terraced house there, because the water builds up, all the vehicles that go up and down there, when it floods, the water all gets thrown up the front of their house.
Well, that's what's happening around the corner around there.
Yeah,
It's gone further out.
And it's going through into the people's, it's soaking through the wall and going into their living room now.
So, Councillor Carter, could I ask you to drop Councillor Evans'
Indeed, I
email
can.
and details? And if you don't remember, can you remember to stand up when we are speaking?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
I'll contact you about that after.
Indeed, yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, hopefully the roads will actually improve, okay? So that's the roads bit. KCC budget, you've probably seen that's come out and that will go up by 3.99%. It's the first time in 12 years it's gone up by under the maximum amount. And we've done that by saving £80 million off the budget. The budget was 725 when we took over. We've actually cut 80 million off that. That'll be up to 100 million by April. So this is just by renegotiating contracts, and we haven't actually cut any frontline services, and we haven't. We're not planning to sell off tips or libraries. Some of the libraries might be going to the district councils, and we'll still provide books. But this is just by good housekeeping. So we are trying to actually save money for the people. Apart from that, let's have a look. Yeah, that is it. There's one more thing. So Roger Gow has put on his website about Kent and Canterbury Hospital, the stroke unit, and we fully support that, the fact that it stays at Kent and Canterbury, because there is rumblings that they want to move it to Ashford. And that won't be any good for the people of Sandwich, the people in Thanet, or the people in the surrounding villages. A lot of money's being spent on Kent and Canterbury Hospital. They've got another theatre. They've got staff there that can traumatise people. So we will be pressing for that as well, along with Sir Roger, to try and keep it at Canterbury. Okay.
Thank you very much. So I'll just take one question from Councillor Morehouse, then we'll move on.
Just a comment, pleased to hear about the KCC situation with the stroke unit. The previous KCC administration actually voted in favour of closing down the stroke unit at QEQM, including our own representatives.
That was folly. I don't know if you know, I work in the health service, and to actually take something like that away from an ageing population and move it to somewhere that's got a younger population is absolute folly, because it's the older people that need it more than the younger people.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. PC Lauren,
Okay.
definitely stand up now.
Hello. I can see that you've got my newsletter for December,
Yeah.
so I won't go over that. I'll just touch on what's happened in January so far, but I will detail that in the newsletter at the end of the month, which I obviously send to the town clerk there. So since the beginning of January, it's been approximately 100 calls to the Sandwich area. Things to mention and to note, I had a meeting with the mayor a couple of weeks ago regarding antisocial behaviour in Sandwich. I've had quite a few reports to try and support the residents and make them feel reassured. I have been doing house to house in the roads that I'm aware were affected. I did a letter drop to the houses that people didn't answer and gave everyone a My Community Voice sign up leaflet so they can sign up and sort of have that two-way communication with them, and they can be updated with what's going on in Sandwich as well. I gave them safeguarding advice around CCTV, and not, the main thing is not to engage with those that are knocking on the door and running away. That's mainly what people are reporting, because it gives those people that are doing it a target, and they will repeatedly come back to the same addresses over and over again because they're getting the reaction. So that's the overriding advice that I've been giving them. I'm aware that it was happening around sort of 5 and 5:30 in the evenings. So when I was on duty on lates, I conducted some patrolling, patrol around the areas that were affected. With my colleagues. I've been able to identify at least 5 people that have been involved in the door knocking and running away. Those 5 people have been spoken to with their parents, and they have all been given acceptable behaviour agreements, which they've all signed, and they will be added onto their profiles so that there is a record of that as well. That comes with conditions, and what some of those conditions are that they're not allowed to come into Sandwich. Obviously, if they go to school here, they're allowed to go over here for that, but not to engage in antisocial behaviour whilst they're over here. That will be monitored, and I had some assistance from the child centre policing team to be able to issue those out, and also liaising with the schools so that they're aware of the issues and making parents aware. That's the main thing. I think I have asked them to sort of support me in this and trying to educate those that are involved in it, that it's unacceptable, it's terrifying for those that are living in their houses. As we know, the population in Sandwich is older, and a lot of people live by themselves, and it's extremely frightening. And for them, when it's happening that late at night, when it's dark, and they're not expecting anyone to come and knock on their door. So that has all been expressed to those that have been spoken to, and I can say, sort of hand on my heart, I don't think that they will engage in the behaviour again. They were all very apologetic, and I don't think that they necessarily saw the consequences of the actions. They thought it was a fun and a game. It's not, and they know that now. So parents were all very much on board, which was positive. Hopefully going forward, we won't have any further issues, but I am keeping an eye on it. I am making sure that I'm doing that foot patrol in the evenings and making sure that there's that visible presence to sort of not only reassure, but to deter any sort of antisocial or criminal behaviour. And that is it in relation to the antisocial behaviour. I'll just touch on, I understand, I'm sure many of you know about the protest that happened on Friday, because I know that it's spilled into the town. There's details of that on the Kent Online website, so I won't go into it too much. But essentially, one arrest was made as a result of their behaviour at that protest. But I won't sort of go into that any further. And that's everything for now. As I say, if there is anything further between now and the end of the month, then that will be detailed in the newsletter, which I'll broadcast out. And I just wanted to say as well, if there are any community engagement events that are taking place over the next year or so that you would like me to attend, if there's any schools, if there's any sort of community talks that you would like me to be a part of, then please let me know. Just contact me by email. If I'm on duty or if there's an opportunity that I can change my shifts around, then I will do that.
Thank you very much. Can I just give personal thanks for the intervention on the antisocial behaviour issue came to me. It was also on Facebook, of course, as you'd expect, but you responded very quickly. And actually, if I recall rightly, I saw you late morning, by the afternoon you already had gone out and started dropping notes into mail shotting some of the affected property. So brilliant, because actually you've got the right outcome.
Yes.
People are identified,
Yeah.
they've been talked to, so thank you.
Yeah,
That's really
absolutely.
appreciated.
No problem at all.
Councillor Anderson.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. I was interested in the fact that you've been talking to the people involved with the antisocial behaviour and their parents.
Yeah.
And I just wondered if you ever mentioned the Sandwich Amateur Boxing Club, because it sounds to me that boxing might be an alternative thing for them
Yes.
to do, to let off the high spirits or whatever it is that's driving their antisocial behaviour.
Yeah, that's,
And that would be some advice.
okay, I'll bear that in mind, yes, yeah, I will bear that in mind. We also have a programme through, actually through Dover District Council, where if people are coming into, I think it's called Aspire, or
Yes,
something like
it's
that.
just been communicated today, I think.
Yeah, so essentially, if there's any people under the age of 18 that have come into our contact and it's sort of first time and they haven't been involved in anything before, and maybe we think that their behaviour could be sort of deterred by giving them another activity, then we can put their name forward. We fill in a form on their behalf with their parents' consent to say, put them forward. And there's a long list of activities that they can take part in, sporting activities mainly. But yeah, it's something that we do in partnership with Dover District Council. It's a really good programme and I've put several children forward for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I've got two more comments I'll take, and if then we can stop.
Yeah, yeah,
That's all right.
no problem.
So it's Councillor Morehouse first. and then
Yes.
Councillor Green.
Just a very quick question. Since the miscreants were spoken to, has there been any further incidents of this behaviour?
There has, that I've seen reported. However, I've tried to speak to the people that have reported it, but I haven't been able to get in contact with them. That report came in on Thursday last week. The ABAs hadn't been issued at that point, so it might be the same people, but I still need to do that inquiry since I don't believe there's been any other reports that I'm aware of. I don't know whether it's quieting down on the Facebook group slightly. Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
But I am monitoring it, and if there is anything further, I'll still do exactly the same inquiries as I have been doing, which is doing the house to house, doing the CCTV trawling, and just seeing whether we can get people identified.
Thank you. Councillor Marine.
Sorry, just helping an elderly person, sorry. The teacher has to use it. Sorry, I apologise. Just quickly, I want to ask about, so the report about December about the bogus big issue sellers outside the co-op. Is there any more update on that and what could be done to stop that happening in the future?
The only update is what I put on my newsletter. That was sort of, it was done and dusted. That was it. So there isn't anything that I can necessarily say to stop it because I can't sort of control people all the time. But what I would say is people that are selling the big issue would have a license to do so.
Yeah.
So and you can ask to see that, and it will be registered with the big issue. The other thing that I've had reported to me recently is people doing door knocking and doing fundraising. Great Ormond Street Hospital was the main charity that people have reported to me. There is a way that you can check whether those people are legitimate. I don't know whether you're aware of this, but if you go on the Great Ormond Street Hospital website, they will have a list of all the locations that they're currently operating in. So it sort of puts people's mind at rest, because I know myself, I had a door knock at 8:30 at night and I thought that was quite strange, but actually they can knock until 9 p.m. That's another thing that I was unaware of, but they will have a list and it says that they will be operating in the Dover district until the 1st of February 2026, so they will be around. But yeah, I can't stop anyone from doing it, but there is a license they will have on them, and you can always just call the big issue if you're not sure, and say, should you have somebody operating in this area? Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Lauren.
I'm going to head off.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Nice to see everyone.
Yeah, I know.
It's sorted, it's sorted. And I'm just going to say that you are 40 now, so don't.
Still the youngest councillor.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 13, updates from councillors, and it was asked earlier on about the planning meeting, so I'll just quickly, it's the only one I want to talk about that I've been involved in. So the meeting happened this morning. It was with the DTC planning officer, who is the lead for the case for 57 New Street. It was a jointly called meeting between Councillor Morehouse and myself. Accompanying us was Councillor Franklin, Councillor Wiles and Councillor Ripley. We discussed the background. It stretches back more than 20 years, probably a lot more than that. What came out from the meeting this morning was that whilst the building is in an advanced state of disrepair and has already suffered a partial roof collapse, the enforcement case is closed from a DDC perspective, and there are no plans currently to take any further action. The two reasons for this are mainly that the costs of taking action, potentially through a compulsory purchase order, are prohibitive. And secondly, the legislation, which Councillor Morehouse has said, and the officer who was with us was frustrated about the legislation, it's not robust enough to enable DDC to hold the owner to account and for the repairs to be undertaken. The one thing I did ask was the building, having done a search on Historic England, it does not seem to be on the heritage
At risk.
at risk register. This was flagged up to me by a resident, and the officer has agreed to go away and investigate why that is the case. It should be, because actually that's not a penalty. It actually opens up doors for opportunities in terms of support and funding. So that's it in a nutshell. The officer was just as frustrated as everybody else concerned. But as it stands at the moment, we've had numerous administrations that have not tackled this, and today is just the latest administration at DDC to not be able to do anything with it. Councillor Moore, as you like.
Just to throw into that, the fact that this is not a political issue at all.
I agree. We'll make sure
And it
it
should not be used as a political football.
Okay, so that's fine. Any other councillors wanted to give updates? Councillor Reid first.
Yeah, I have two, Mr. Bear. One's a personal one, please, if you don't mind. I'd like to personally thank the councillors that attended my 40th birthday party on Saturday. It was a great event. The mayor said some lovely words. I asked him to say some lovely words as a councillor. And I think we all enjoyed it very well, as much as I did, even more so. And the gifts and the well wishes are much appreciated, and I'm touched by them all. Thank you very much. The one thing I have is the Folk&Our Festival. I have a message from the committee here. It says we have some extremely positive news to share that our council representative, myself, after some successful grant applications to DDC and STC, we have slightly increased the budget to spend on more performances and welfare amenities for the festival. This will make the festival run more fun and more welcoming for all. The festival roughly costs £20,000 a year to put on, and the committee are always trying to raise the required funds through fundraisers, grant applications, and pre-festival events. Our ridiculously and outrageously hilarious race night was more successful than ever. I did touch on that before. They have a quiz night booked which is for the Friday the 27th of December at the Market Inn. It is £5 per person with teams of 6 for the quiz night. There will be live music as well on that time. The profits made by the market are also going towards the festival as well. And it says here, where else does it say? The main festival date has now been released. The main festival dates have been announced for Monday the 29th of June to Sunday the 5th of July, the core weekend on the 4th and 5th of July. We have more exciting developments to share, which are in the pipeline, and we will announce them in due course. Overall, things are looking good, engagements with local authorities and businesses, and of course, Morris dancers. We have been extremely positive. More local venues than ever before put on entertainment and fun, enjoyable festival, and we'll keep Sandwich on the map. The committee would like to extend their gratitude to Sandwich Town Council, councillors and officers for the grant award which helped support the festival.
Thank you very much. Councillor Carter, I saw you put your hand up.
Thank you. So last Thursday I attended the DDC planning meeting, and I was requested by the residents of Polders Gardens to speak about the property there, number 17. And I just wanted to say myself, it was a real shame that something like this, which is really a commercial venture, is being allowed to set up in such a lovely residential community. So it was a real shame. There were 2 DDC and 1 Sandwich Town councillor there, and it was all to no avail, unfortunately. But at least we did our bit to support residents. And then last Wednesday, I wasn't able to be here because I had to be at the Kent Association of Local Councils, and I went along to that, which mainly there's a large number of items which are duplicated from other councils, so I won't go into those. We had a presentation on the Public Health Alliance, and there were members from DDC, KCC and Kent and Medway Health Alliance that were there, and they said they're trying to tackle inequality and discrimination, what to do with healthcare and medication in the district, and in particular this postcode lottery of where you live, and they gave statistics as to longevity of different people. And for instance, St Margaret's and a ward down in Dover, St Radigan's, there's a massive difference as to longevity that the residents are living for. It's got to be addressed. Just quickly, Calc AGM was last Saturday, and they were just saying about re-electing the committee, and they were open for any discussions of any matters that anybody had to raise there. I put forward potholes, so hopefully that was raised there. The third item, DDC Joint Transport Advisory Board. It was noted that this has been cancelled for the last 3 times. I think our representative is Councillor Black.
Yep.
And Dover District Council are putting forward the proposition that apparently there is nothing to go on the agenda. And at least 5 people at the CALC meeting said they'd all submitted items to be raised. And this really needs to be pushed on, because they used to say about drainage, road markings, road signs, everything like that. We've got Councillor Black who could rattle their cage and say, we need this done, we need that done. And they're just not allowing these meetings to go ahead. So that needs to be taken up. And then lastly, there was an update from a councillor from Walmer, Sarah Gleave, to say about town resilience plans, and they're trying to get all the towns to do them. But I said I believed we'd done ours. I checked with Councillor Mallet, but I believed we'd done ours about a year or 2 back.
I'm not aware of the resilience plan done 2 or 3 years back, but we are looking at an alternative way forward with regard to resilience, which is less verbose.
Well, CALC are now setting up a working group. So if anybody needs any help with resilience plans, then you can approach CALC now. And the very last thing was, they said that apparently training, hardly anybody's taking up CALC training, and they said it's there for the councillors to get on and use it. And the take up last year was very, very poor. So if anybody does want any specific training, please get in touch with them, and they're very friendly. Thank you.
Councillor Fortescue.
Well, I'm reporting on the Porton Haven Commission. The income for the last financial year totaled £30,646.32. And the main sources of revenue are the harbour dues, £19,189, and investment income, £7,857. As regards harbour dues, 189 individuals paid harbour dues. 3 individuals at the time of the last Porton Haven Commission meeting had not paid. Nevertheless, this is a great improvement on the previous year, when there were 32 late payers. As regards the investment income, the portfolio is managed by Rathbones. At the last valuation, the value of the portfolio was approximately 384,000. 65% of that is invested in the stock market, 25% in bonds, and a small amount in gold. Perhaps given what's happened to the price of gold, it might have been a bit more. All this generates an income of £10,700 approximately. That's a yield of 2.8%. I thought that was a rather low yield, but was reminded that gold, of course, doesn't produce an income. And the portfolio is partly invested in shares like Microsoft, which apparently pay little or no dividend. But the hope, of course, is that the value of the shares will go up and up. Then expenditure. Annual expenditure amounted to £27,074. And one of the main items was navigation, buoys and beacons, £143. And the harbour master, who works of course part-time, is paid about £833. And there was also a payment of over £1,000 for HMRC. Well, I think we've got a long agenda, so I think I'll end it there. But if anybody wants to ask me further questions about Copenhagen Commission, please do so.
Thank you very much. Councillor Anderson next.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you to the councillors who came to the AGM of the Jubilee Centre, which happened on Friday afternoon, and I include Councillor Peter Evans in that. Thanks. I think the AGM went very well. I think it was a very good opportunity for the Jubilee Centre to show off the huge variety of things that happen at the Jubilee Centre. And I speak, of course, as somebody with a vested interest because I'm acting chair of the Jubilee Centre at the moment. Councillor Tomlins and Councillor Gray are also trustees, although Councillor Gray has retired. So thank you for coming, and I was very pleased to see you.
Thank you. Councillor Ripley.
Just to give a very brief update on what was spoken about at the Tourist Forum a week or so ago. I haven't done this already, have I?
No.
Strangely, there was a discussion about the elephant. Should have thought it, and the potential for Archers on the Bucks scheme. The Blue Plaque scheme was mentioned. St Clement's Father Sebastian came and spoke about his fabulous plans for that. There was a Compass talk. They came and told us all about what they were doing and how they did it. Fishergate was spoken about, and a Thames barge coming to the quay in August. The Nautical Archaeological Society survey that was going to be done in Sandwich Bay, and the River Runner, who apparently have, with Viking Cruises, got 25 trips already arranged for this coming year with Viking passengers. Yeah, that was about it.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to agenda item 14. So this is the timetable and committee structure for 26, 27 proposed. I can see in there probably 7 elements that we need to be clear that we're accepting them if we accept this in its totality. But I'll ask the town clerk if she'd like to introduce it, and then we'll have a short but interesting debate on it, I hope.
Okay. This is from me, really. Just as I've been through a quarterly cycle of meetings here, and just as we move towards the new civic year, things I've noticed that could maybe make people's lives a bit easier, or not, as you may decide. I was wondering whether or not move all meeting start times to 6:30, because if we can make it for some, we can make it for all. Anyway, so that's one. I think if you factor in officer time, it's quite a substantial cost to the council, and that I don't think is an immaterial consideration. Finance. I was talking to the RFO. There is, if we were to move the finance meetings to the end of the month, so say we were to have them the last Wednesday of the month, say it was the 27th or 26th or something like that, we could close out the previous month on the 15th of the month. We would then be able to report much tighter to the month end. Because quite often we're sort of looking at November, we're in January, but we're looking at November end of months, because so we'd basically be able to probably get 2 or 3 weeks closer reporting. So I think that would be good. Our reports, our financial reports would be much more up to date and much fresher. So that's something to be considered. SDC meetings, I think last year you had 7, but then there, as Councillor Franklin said, we had lots of EGMs, and I think that takes a toll on everybody, their diary management.
Yeah.
So I felt that nobody particularly wants meetings mid-August or December, but then thinking about the councillors, another matter that could be discussed, maybe the councillors have not got young families who are tied by school holidays, and perhaps councillors might prefer not to have September meetings, because actually that's a good time. So that's, something for you to think about. SDBF, I thought 5 meetings a month, every other month, but missing out 1 in the summer. Maddox, at the moment, I thought, because it is an STC, all the money is currently held in STC, so bi-monthly, but obviously looking to change that as and when a charity's formed. Museum and Archives and Monks Hall quarterly, and then probably the controversial one. I was wondering about the merits of merging planning with heritage and townscape. I've spoken to you about it, Councillor Franklin. I think it would give more teeth to both committees. I think you could look at planning and planning enforcement and townscape issues in the round. Councillor Franklin chairs like a ninja, so planning is not always very long. So I think, again, thinking of opposite time, again, that's 2 meetings when you could put them into 1. Anyway, so those are my thoughts, but it's up to you guys.
Yeah, so can I first of all thank you for the effort you've put in, and actually having a new pair of eyes looking at on business is always of value, so it should not be seen as a form of criticism, and we should accept it as presented. There are 7 elements, and you've gone through each of them. So what I'd like to do is not dive into the last element, which might have the most debate. So if we could go through them one by one, if that's all right, because I think some are simpler than others, I hope. And if we can then move through them and close off each one in turn. So the first is whether we as a group of councillors are happy to align all evening meeting start times to 6:30 p.m. If it's an objection, could I take it, Councillor Murray?
Yeah. So, Mr. Mayor, apologies. So there's a few of us here that work full time. Myself, Councillor Morehouse, Councillor Tomlins, Councillor Carter, and Mrs. Carter as well. I rush here to get here for 6:30 in the evening because I work 120 hours a fortnight. So it's a lot of hours for what I do. Same as Councillor Morehouse. Councillor Morehouse works. I'm not sure how far where it works now, but I could be anywhere in the southeast.
Yes.
And it's a bit of a stroll on me to be in places for at least for 6:30 every time. And also, I do believe the annual town meeting is held at 6. Is it 6 p.m. Councillor Carter? 8 p.m. And that's legal. That's part of the AGM.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
But
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Is yours a similar observation on that?
Yeah, just to say, lost it again. Starting the meeting at 6:30 for me personally is very, very difficult. I'm gonna get my thoughts again, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, personally, the 6:30 starts wouldn't affect me personally, but the point I just wanted to make is when we have a pre-meeting,
Yes.
that would make it even earlier,
Yeah,
which we
that's
have
true.
accommodated. I know it's not every time, but yeah.
Okay.
Push it
Final
even.
comments, yes.
Just basically, because the other factor behind this is, which a lot of people might not know, is when you're working, it's the difference between, like tonight, we've been able to eat before we come to this meeting. So if it finishes at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, whatever, we don't have to worry about eating at 10 o'clock at night. And likewise, I believe, like Councillor Morehouse has a pet, has a dog, and so it gives him more time to be able to go home, settle and feed his pet and then come on here. So these are all factors that really need to be taken. It's not a case of just rushing straight from work. There are other factors, please.
It was an observation. So getting here is a rush for 6:30.
Yeah.
On several occasions, and included tonight, I've gone to the side door, it's locked, and I've had to, and that takes time walking around to the other side of the building.
Yeah.
And especially last year, I got very bad injuries to my left foot.
Yeah.
And on too many occasions, I went to go in one door, found it locked, and had to walk all the way around to the
So
other.
that's probably me not knowing the system. Should I always be opening up the bottom side door?
If we're having meetings in this room, then that side door should always.
Apologies, sorry, Mr. Nick. So, previous town, I do apologise, Sophie, the previous town clerk always used to put in the comments because they knew the diary of what rooms were being used. So they'd put in the email for the agenda, say, you must use the side door or you can use the main door.
It's always called the councillor's door.
Councillors.
And the light was always turned on, but I think the bulbs were on the landing.
So that would be.
I will make sure that that door is always open.
I don't think that's a criticism. It's
No,
not.
no,
I didn't, I thought we only opened it when we couldn't go through the front door, so I didn't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Just talking about opening that side door, the problem is that if we use only that side door for entry into this room, that does exclude people who have difficulty getting upstairs.
Yep.
And I really do think we need to do something about that, and that there has to be some arrangement whereby people who have trouble, councillors who have, and members of the public who have trouble getting upstairs, should be able to get into this chamber without using those stairs. An alternative would be that the council meet somewhere else.
Okay, so we've got, the point is made and understood, so the town clerk will have heard that and.
I'll make sure
will
the side
take-
door is always open.
Could I then deal with this one? So can I ask whether somebody is happy to propose that we start all meetings at 6:30? I think that one fails.
Fine, fair enough.
That's fine, thank you. Moving on. Hopefully this one's easier. This is a technical change. So this is to move the finance meeting to the last Wednesday of each month. Councillor Black?
Can I ask, are you going to propose something similar for STBF?
Yes.
Finance?
Yeah.
That's fine, yes.
Together.
I'm not opposed to either. I think
Yeah,
it makes a lot more
exactly.
sense.
Exactly as they are now, but just moving them to the end of the month.
Yes, I think personally, I think it makes a lot of sense to do it that way. It helps John as well.
So I'd like to propose that we do that. Second. Okay, and if you could vote on that, and that's all green. Good. So the next is to hold 10 STC meetings next year. So the 7 was agreed in the previous year to this year, and that was because there was a groundswell of opinion. It wasn't through my direction, it was through the previous town clerk, proposed 7 for this year, because there was a groundswell of opinion that we had too many meetings. The reality is, because of the complexity of the council and its relationship with the STBF and everything else that's going on, like an additional charity, the meetings emerge and we don't have a choice. So we've had a number of emergency meetings or extraordinary meetings, which actually have been emergency meetings, because we've had to make some key decisions. So that's why I think Sophie, current town clerk, has proposed 10. Discuss.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this goes with committee meetings as well. So I found it in recent months that some of the meetings have not been quorate because councillors are not around. My apologies if I may say maybe sound out of line, but my opinion is you are summoned. This council is summoned to meetings. It says it on the paperwork. You're an elected member. You're summoned unless there's a major concern. My personal opinion is I don't like the fact that there's certain councillors that are now on their breaks. And that does concern me as well, because they are, one of them is actually a chair for a committee as well, which is quite concerning. The whole reason of having those 2 months off is so that councillors can enjoy the rest relaxation, because that's when I would have mine, because it's quieter for me in the summer months. My opinion as well is that if there's councillors that can't be on committee meetings and they can't be there for a regular amount of time, then might I suggest or advise you is to stand down and let other councillors who are maybe willing to take part in those committee meetings to then take their place. I know sometimes we do get councillors that have to stand in for people as well, but my opinion would be if you can't be there, don't stand in that committee.
Thank you. So I think they're very valid points, and I think I would ask us all to reflect on that when we come to nominate ourselves for committee membership for the coming year. What I would add to that is, if you're not able to attend, please look for a substitute. We've had a couple of committee meetings where people have dropped out on the day, and the Finance and General Purpose Committee meeting that we just had, which was about signing off the most important part of our year's governance, we ran the risk, and I was phoning people, contacting people, because those individuals who dropped out didn't come to me, but I was aware of it, and I went out and got people. We can't avoid the unexpected, and I appreciate that, but we are a collective, and we should collaborate in that way that ensures we protect the council. That's so I'd echo that. Councillor Wiles, I saw you out on my.
Yeah, I fully support 10 meetings a year. I would recommend we miss the September meeting rather than that we had miss September rather than August.
Well, I'm totally against it. I think we should have 12 meetings a year to keep the agendas shorter, because it's only over the last 3 years, and Councillor Carver backed me up, we used to have a council meeting, a Tollbridge meeting, and then finished here, and we went into the mayor's parlour and we had committee meetings. We didn't have extra nights, so the town clerk, the town council, Tollbridge Fund, and then the committee meeting. So we've done loads of extra meetings, haven't we, Councillor Carter? I'm sure she'll agree with me. So I look at the agenda tonight, it's ridiculously long. And so I think we should go back to, I'm sorry, but I do think we should have 12 meetings a year, because also the Tollbridge Fund, it has wages every month, because years ago, the wages were always done through Dover District Council. We didn't have a finance officer. Then we decided it was cheaper to have our own finance officer, wasn't it?
Right, it was.
And so we brought it in-house. So I'm still for 12 meetings a year, traditionally.
Very much.
Shorter meetings, but 12.
Yeah, so thank you, Councillor Franklin, and very forcibly put. What I would say is, when I look at agendas, and I have responsibility for some of these agendas, but not all, I can't see anything on, for example, tonight, that you would strip out and not do, but others may disagree with me. So it's not meetings for meeting's sake. We have a complicated council that drives the agenda, and everything on here, I believe tonight, is a valid inclusion. But that's my personal view. But I agree with you in terms of what we can't do is leave too short on the number of meetings, and we can look at that when we've finished the conversations where we vary from 10. Okay.
I don't believe that going to 12 meetings would necessarily make sure. We don't know what's going to come up on the agenda in many cases, and we might go into a standard 8 items per meeting. But we can't define today what we're going to be discussing in June, and I don't think 12 meetings would necessarily lead to a shorter agenda.
Okay. Final comment.
Yeah, final comment. So a part of the standing orders as well for STC meetings is that a councillor only speaks twice before we go to a vote. And I don't know sometimes, which I'm doing, I'm on my second one for this item, is the fact that it's sometimes, my apologies, but sometimes councillors do tend to go on a bit, and I feel that's what makes it go a lot longer as well.
Thank you very much. So we have a proposal to hold 10 STC meetings. There was an option of August or September. Councillor Wiles has influenced that towards September. Is anybody happy to propose 10 meetings next year, with September and December not at the moment booked?
I propose that.
Councillor Back, seconded. Councillor Tomlins, if we could vote on that.
Okay, hang on, right, let me get this done right. So
we've got 1 against,
9.
we've got 3 abstentions.
9-4.
1 against, 3 abstentions.
And 9-4.
Thank
Can
you.
I just point out, Mr Mayor, that the summons is only for the main council meeting. It's not for the committee meetings as was put forward earlier.
Thank you.
Oh, we can talk about the diary as well, because you can cut one of these meetings out already in May, because the mayor making is a quarterly meeting, because we've always done mayor making, quarterly meeting, and then we had the civics, and that was it for May, apart from the other meeting. But it's only the last couple of years, with the last clerk, she said we couldn't do that. She said we had to have a town council meeting, decide on the mayor, and then we had mayor making, didn't we? So I don't think we can drop a meeting off in May.
I did notice that one.
Yeah.
Other councils don't have a town council meeting, annual town council meeting, both in May.
We've always done it for the last 2 years.
I assumed it was due to weight of business, so I just copied over what happened last year.
Yeah, right, we'll come back to that when we finish. Let's carry on with the remaining 4 items. So the next one is to hold 5 meetings of the full STBF next year. So that's bi-monthly, so that's moving from the quarterly. Are you happy to propose that?
Propose that.
Second, Councillor Morehouse, to vote on that. We've got one against, I think. Councillor Franklin, was that against or for? It's green.
Green.
That's all. Didn't know you were showing it to me or them.
Oh.
Okay, so that's that. The next one is Maddox Management, 6 meetings bi-monthly. So we have to propose that. Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Wiles has seconded. Vote on that. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. The next is to remain with Museum and Archives and Monk's Wall Nature Reserve separately as quarterly meetings.
Yeah.
Councillor Carter's proposed, Councillor Franklin seconded, and that's unanimous. I won't go on to the last one yet. We'll go back to the comment that was made. So could we clarify what we mean about dropping the meetings? At the moment, within the schedule of meetings, on the 13th of May, we have an annual town council meeting followed by mayor making. What are we suggesting should be different?
Well, I think we should, normally it was a quarterly meeting. So if you remember the last 2 years, we've had a quarterly meeting, haven't we?
Yeah.
And then we've gone down and into the mayor making downstairs. But before that.
Ah, right, sorry, yes.
Before that, we used to have an informal meeting, or the mayor, after the April meeting, after the end of business, the council had an informal meeting, then the mayor, the town clerk already sent notes around, didn't she? So we had proposals for mayor, deputy mayor. So that was decided at the April informal meeting. So the person that was nominated as mayor would then have a chance to get the family and invite people.
Yeah.
And that's how we always used to do it, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, not for the last 3 years.
Not for the last 3 years.
Not since.
Or maybe
longer.
maybe even
Yeah.
longer.
To be honest, the annual town council meeting's been very confused for the last 4 years. Sorry, it has been, the annual town council meeting's been, it's been so confusing for the last 4 or 5 years, so even before.
No, it's probably that last clock.
Sorry, so just to clarify Councillor Franklin's point, on the 13th of May, we're due to have the annual town council meeting starting at 6 p.m. as
Which we have
talked
to
about.
do.
That's the legal thing.
Yeah.
And then at the moment, copying over what happened last year, an STC quarterly full council. So I think the proposal there would be that we do the, review of the standing orders, review of the financial regs at the town council meeting, and the STT quarterly full council is different. Now, other councils I've worked for wouldn't necessarily have that quarterly meeting as well.
No.
But I don't,
So I'd like,
whether it's the weight of business here, I don't.
no, I'd like to propose we drop that quarterly meeting if that's what Councillor Franklin has intimated.
Well, I was going to say, have it prior to the mayor making, we could make an exception.
So I think that the quarterly meeting would be a general sort of town council meeting to do town council business.
To elect the mayor, really, wasn't it? It used to be the mayor making, didn't it? So that's what it was. We used to have it used to be in here, didn't it? Be crammed in here, the quarterly meeting. And then broke up, then we did the mayor making. So there was really no business that night, was there, Councillor Carter?
No,
the business was to elect the mayor. So
Yeah,
we did-
exactly.
And that was the only thing on the agenda, the mayor making.
Which is what it should be.
Okay, that takes place on the 13th.
That's it.
Okay, but at the moment, as rolling over from last year, I have put in another meeting on the 18th to carry out council business, like we're talking about now.
Happy to propose that.
Yeah.
So you want to keep that second meeting in,
Yeah.
as well as the discrete town council meeting.
Yeah, but not on the same night.
I'm not sure we know what we're voting for here. So on the 13th of May, we are required to have an annual town council meeting. And we have done that, in my experience, obviously only for the last 3 years. We've done that at 6 o'clock, followed by the mayor making at 7:30. And within the annual town council meeting, we've elected the mayor and then they've gone to the ceremony.
There will be review of the standing orders, review of
Exactly.
the financial.
Yeah, and then we've also
Things
elected the mayor and
reference.
also the deputy.
It's only the last 3 years that's happened.
Yeah. So I would propose that we still do that.
Yeah, do that, that's legal.
Yes, no, in terms of the elections as well, yeah. But what we didn't do the last couple of years was a quarterly full council meeting a couple of days later. And I don't see what the argument is for doing that, but it does reduce us down to 9 STC meetings as a consequence, which we've already voted.
Yeah, I
We'll have
know,
10.
I know. Yeah.
Well, no, because the annual town council meetings can be viewed as one of the STC meetings.
No,
Because that is
So we voted,
standard
we
enough.
have voted for 10 STC meetings, which will include May. Yes, Councillor Morris.
The meeting last year started at 6 o'clock
We did.
and then we went down to the courtroom at about
7:30.
quarter to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So quarter to 7, 7
Yeah, yeah,
o'clock.
yeah.
If we were to include a full council meeting in that, there's a danger that we wouldn't get downstairs.
No, I
Right.
get that.
Councillor Wallace, do you want to make a last comment?
Yeah, from memory, that meeting last year was very difficult. It was a full agenda.
Yeah, it was.
And
Yeah.
it included the election of the mayor, which was not as handled as well as it could have been, shall I say. So I think if we do have that, it needs to be well managed. But I would then say we don't need the next meeting the week later. We can do away with that.
We have, sorry, can I just recap? We've already voted for 10 STC meetings next year, which includes May. If that had been an issue at that point, that should have been raised. So we have already approved that. So we can't just undo it.
Isn't that an STC meeting?
It is an STC meeting on the 18th of May.
So it's 11.
It's 10.
10.
10 STC meetings with the annual town
But
council.
isn't the 13th counted as an STC meeting?
Yes, it is.
It's 11 May.
So they still have a meeting.
Then it's
It's
11.
11. Yeah, so if you get rid of the May, we're back to 10.
Yeah. So that's why, sorry, I said, I put my proposal forward earlier,
Can you
as per
recap
the
what your proposal is?
town clerks. So to keep it as the town clerk said, so we have the mayor making on the 13th, and then we have the annual town meeting on the 18th, which the town clerk
No,
quite.
that is not the annual town meeting, that would be.
No, I mean, yeah, the quarterly meeting on the 18th, and then that would keep us up to the number that we need. That's what I was proposing.
But that would be 11, not 10.
Yeah, well,
Although one would be almost entirely
Yeah.
ceremonial.
one would be ceremonial.
No, it
so that,
really is not ceremonial. The 6 o'clock meeting,
Sorry, my
Very
apologies, the bulk of it would be, but you've got the formal business of electing the mayor.
Yeah.
Which is a responsibility of all of the councillors.
Yeah.
And then having the ceremony downstairs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, but you would not be transacting, or at least it might be the Bible attempts to transact any other business on that day.
no,
that's correct.
But that technically makes it 11 meetings.
it
Yes.
would if we were to keep the 18th in.
Yes.
Okay, so if we recognise that, but we'll come back to voting on that then. So we've got a proposal that we still include the 18th of May as a meeting of the full town council as a quarterly STC, which is what's proposed here in any case.
Yes.
Yeah,
And you've proposed that, so you're only proposing what's in front of us.
exactly.
I'm happy to second that in terms of the schedule.
I'm not sure that's going to work, Mr Mayor, because mayor making, we've all rolled up that class as a quarterly meetings. We can't have 2 quarterly meetings within a week of each other, can we?
Yeah.
And that's why you've done away with the other quarterly meeting, which is August. So that's a quarterly meeting, so it's May, August, and February. So really, we're going 3, so we don't have quarterly meetings.
Yes, that's only titles though. With all due respect, it's what you call each meeting is only a
Well, that's
title.
where we rolled up,
So
isn't
as
it?
long as we have a quarterly meeting in May,
Yeah.
and we keep those quarterly meetings going there forward, it doesn't matter what the meetings
We're not
are.
at the quarterly meeting in August though, are we?
So,
Because we are now.
Because we changed it.
It was
September,
it
day
was-
of September.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I've just tried to.
Try to keep up, councillor.
so just recapping. Firstly, the annual town meeting, we don't robe up in that meeting. We only robe up for the ceremony which follows.
That's
So
correct.
that's not a meeting, it's a ceremony. So that's one.
Yeah.
We are meeting in August, so we will have a quarterly meeting in August.
I've got that now.
So we'll deal with the schedule at the end because we've got one hot topic, which is item 7, to combine planning with heritage and townscape. So Councillor Morehouse to start.
Planning is dynamic, it's what's in front of us. I would suggest that heritage and townscape is more strategic. Prior to the 2019-2023 administration, all the planning issues were part of the full council meeting.
Yep.
Used to come in this room, all the displays were over there, and I would suggest that if we're going to do anything about planning, we move it back into the full council meetings.
Point noted. Councillor Black.
I would endorse exactly what's being said. The planning meetings have got a specific focus. We don't control that agenda. That agenda is controlled by what the DDC sends to us to a great extent. I think the heritage and townscape is much more broad ranging. It's something that we want to control. I noticed you've put a few items here which might.
Those are just ideas.
No, that's fine. No, but you made some sensible contributions on this one. There's no question on that. But I do think they are fundamentally different meetings. I note that a number of other town council also include planning as a regular part of the meeting. The difficulty becomes if it's a very contentious issue, in which case you have to adjust other parts of the agenda. Plus the fact there are 5 people on both committees, but you've got a fair number of people who are not on both committees, and you would have a bit of a problem getting 9 to fully represent all the different aspects. I don't think it's a good merger.
Just as a point of note, I did check the membership of the planning committee, and of the 8 members, 6 are on heritage and townscape. So actually there is a significant overlap. However, I'm taking.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Fine.
Years ago, like Councillor Morehouse was saying, we used to have the planning here, but that was at the end of the month. And that's why they separated the planning to have it at the beginning of that, matching with Dover District Council. You know, so they send us the plans.
Yes, they do.
We then vote on it here, our recommendation, then it goes to their plan, which is a couple of weeks after us. If we did it at the end of the month, we'd be after their planning meeting.
Exactly.
So that's why we totally separated it, didn't it?
We did.
And also the planning meeting as authority to act on recommendation, that doesn't have to come back to the full town council. So I know we have the quick meeting, depends what planning issues we're talking about. But I think it's important that we keep the planning separate on the early part of the month to get our recommendation through to otherwise we got asked over to defer Sarah's thing to the next month. So
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Miles, we'll have one more comment and then I'll just round up. Councillor Miles, did you have a comment?
Mr. Mayor?
The chair of.
Yes.
Sorry, Councillor.
Yeah, I fully support this. I mean, if we don't agree this, then we have to have another 5 meetings or 6 meetings on this list. So I think planning is often, I've been in planning meetings which last for 15, 20 minutes. It's a reactive agenda. It's reacting to what's going on. When we reorganised the agenda, the committee system 3 years ago, was it? The idea was to have an external committee dealing with the town and an internal committee dealing with the building and the finances and everything else. And heritage and townscape and planning, they're 2 sides of the same coin. We've always felt that the planning committee should take a much more strategic approach rather than just reacting and responding to planning applications, often which our comments are ignored anyway. So I think bringing in a more strategic approach to the town, the culture, the history, the heritage makes absolute sense.
Thank you, sorry, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's just in terms of heritage and townscape and planning is, as has been said, it's dynamic. It's something that has to be dealt with on a monthly basis. It is, for us, fast-paced. For heritage and townscape, it's slow. Having a meeting every month, we tend to review So reviewing the same things month by month rather than every other month doesn't work. However, that is more down to setting the agenda. So having the agenda carefully looked at as so that essentially Heritage and Townscape, we look at one thing one month, the next thing the other month. So it's a mechanical change as opposed to we've got to do everything exactly the same, but every month. So overall, I would say there's no great problem. I would agree with Councillor Wiles that there is a serious overlap in terms of the way that we're looking at things happening in Sandwich in relation to planning are much the same things that realistically we cover in Heritage and Townscape, or should be, plus other things which can be staged. Some things happen a particular month, and I'm afraid that's down to the town clerk in assisting in setting up the agenda, rather than having a fixed agenda that says we have to do climate change every month. No, we don't. We have to do resilience every month. No, we don't. So I would say it's possible.
Okay, so I think we've had a full discussion about this in terms of those for and those against. So I think we should take the proposal and see if somebody is happy to propose it. And that is to combine planning with Heritage and Townscape and run those on a monthly basis. Somebody have to propose that?
Yes, I'll
Councillor Wiles, Councillor Anderson has seconded it. So if we could go to a vote on that.
Sorry, wrong word.
Okay, what we got?
One abstention, 2 against, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against, 2 abstentions, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, Councillor D. Carter, could you make sure we don't have discussion? We shouldn't discuss votes
No, I
here.
didn't hear properly.
Okay.
I'm just listening.
I'm just replaying it then. I'm replaying again.
I didn't hear.
Right, okay, I'm just replaying it.
Okay, please.
So the proposal is to combine Heritage and Townscape with planning as a monthly meeting.
Do you want that or doesn't want that? It's your choice.
So there's another abstention. So it's 1, 2, 2 abstentions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 against, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. So it fails. It fails. So that means planning and Heritage and Townscape to be kept separate. So on that basis, and as long as it's not time critical, can we bring this back to the next meeting in terms of a schedule?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'd like to propose that the schedule of meetings are brought back to the next meeting with the full town council so we can approve those, because the town clerk will need to build in the additional dates for the planning committee. Somebody happy to second that?
Good idea.
I think. And we can vote on that. And that's unanimous. Thank you. Might be slightly challenging. Okay, keeping the positivity and about dealing with simple things. The next one is agenda item 15, standing orders for annual town council. So this is a proposed process for electing a mayor and deputy mayor in May 2026, and if agreed, to adopt this process into our standing orders when they are reviewed in May. So we've all had that guidance. I don't know if you want to talk it through, or is it?
I think it is. I hope that councillors have had a chance to read through this. I think it really. I hope you think it's fairly clear. I think the key note is that it is based on the LGA guidance on this matter, and that is how it is generally accepted that these matters are conducted. Any comments?
Thank you. Councillor Anderson first.
Yes. I have, since I became a councillor, been astonished by the fact that at the election of the mayor, we do it by a show of hands.
That is the guidance.
And I think that gives rise to all sorts of confusions. And I think it would be much better if we had ballot slips, and where we, as one does in any other election, puts a cross against, a single cross against the name of the person that one wants, one supports in any election, whether for the mayor or the deputy mayor. I just think we would all feel more comfortable if the ballot were a secret one.
Councillor Marie.
Mr Mayor, many years ago, the election of the mayor and the deputy mayor used to be held in St Peter's Church, it's St Clement's Church, done by residents of the public. I so heartily disagree with having a secret ballot. This is council's about transparency and about being held to account for this town, and it's up to us to make sure we hold that principle. The stuff that's been given regarding, yes, failings were made last year. Everybody knows this. We've had many discussions about it, about last year, or this year, so I say, or 25. So let's just move on. My saying is that we propose these. They are part of Calc's guidance as well, which has been discussed of many times. My opinion would be is to accept the proposal of these.
Councillor Wise?
No, I support these proposals. I don't agree with the secret ballots, but the wording of this is ambiguous. What it suggests is that the existing mayor will chair the meeting.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
And that's
fine.
the guidance.
But if there's a split vote, they have a casting vote.
Yes, that's right.
That's unfair.
But that's the guidance.
It's unfair, sorry.
I think most of this actually comes from the legislation, not just the LGA,
Yes,
but this is
right,
specific
sorry.
legislation.
Right, it's
And unfortunately, whilst I agree with you, Councillor Anderson, it should be a secret ballot, the legislation says no. And the legislation also says the chair, they say the chair, if it happens to be the mayor, must chair the first part of the meeting and will continue to chair until the elected person signs the relevant document.
It is the first order of business.
Yeah, it is, as you say, the first order of business, and there's legislative aspects to it. I prefer it to be secret ballot, but it's not going to happen. So I think this brings a great deal of clarity, and I would suggest we follow it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The thing that concerns me is this all done on the night of the mayor maker. I know that's the legal aspect.
Yes.
But we've also always had that informal meeting at the end of the April. So you can then, if you're going to be the mayor, you can invite your family to attend. If you're not sure on the night if you're going to get the vote or not, you're not going to have anyone to be there, are you? So I think we should still have the informal ballot on the end of the April meeting with the councillors, because what happened years and years ago, it got political. Someone was nominated for mayor on the informal one, and the ruling, so they turned up with their family, and suddenly they didn't get it, and that was so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing for the council, because they'd already informally agreed that this person, but because of politics, they didn't get it, and I think that reflected really bad on the council. So I think it's nice to have this little informal meeting prior, so then you can invite your friends, and it won't be upset on that
Frankly, I
night.
think that probably explains why we need to do it in one hit on the night. So,
And you're with your family then.
And I know about that, and you have mentioned that to me more than once.
Yeah. We don't have their family then, are they?
Very poor behaviour, definitely. But we're dealing with it now, and how we deal with it for this coming May. Councillor Morehouse, sorry, Town Clerk did want to insert.
Yes, sorry, Councillor Franklin, the law is it has to take
know
place
that.
on the night of the annual town council meeting. There's no
Yeah,
grey area in that. And I'm sure that Rishi Sunak's family felt terribly awful for him on the night of the last election as well. It's part of local government.
But after that potential mayor didn't get it, it looked really bad on the council, and the public were really upset over it, because the family was sitting there, and suddenly that person wasn't elected.
Well, we won't be having an informal meeting this year because we're following the guidance. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Abdul, regardless of the casting vote, it's still the present mayor of that. It's not anybody else. It's the only thing I can think. It's the chair. So the only thing, obviously, they had one recently on the House of Commons. That's the speaker that then has the casting vote. But it's happened many times at DDC regarding casting vote, and it's the current.
Yeah, and it's a chair, and the chair may not necessarily be the mayor on the night for whatever reason.
It's a democratic
That's why this is
process.
chairing the meeting. Yes. So just a couple more comments, because we could go around this a lot when I think it's a fairly straightforward piece of guidance, but Councillor Morehouse.
We are elected to serve the
Yes.
public. We are not here. It is not a family party.
No.
We are elected to serve the public.
So do we get your family then to come on your mayor making?
Councillor Carter, take the final
Yeah,
comment.
very quickly. So yes, I don't agree with the chair because having been here 19 years, as Councillor Franklin will also back up, is it was always the town clerk that chaired the first part of the meeting, and then when somebody
So
came
That's
in.
not.
And that's how it happened for
Councillor
19 years.
Carter, we cannot
No,
rely on what might have been the practice here, because actually what we have to rely on is the Act and also the LGA guidance, which is
I
drawn from
understand
the
that.
Act, and it is the sitting chair.
I understand
And,
that.
and there's no discussion about that, because those are the rules.
Yeah, I understand that,
Yes.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But then going back to what Councillor Marie said about the elections in St Clement's Church, I just want to recollect that because that was actually when the public, elected the mayor and not the councillors.
Yeah,
So
okay.
which is a
We're talking about
trend.
500
400
years.
400 years ago,
Yeah, if we can move on.
And
So
to
I
tear
think-
down the house or person of the refuse to be mayor.
Yes,
So let's
exactly,
stop
yes.
there.
So can I just rein this in? We've been asked
I
to
propose
consider
that.
two things, and just making sure Councillor Marie is proposing these, to endorse the proposed process for electing a mayor chair and a deputy mayor chair for the council in May 2026, and confirm that the process should be adopted into standing orders of the council in May 2026. Councillor Marie, is that what you
Yeah,
get?
as required by law, yes.
Thank you very much. Somebody have to second that? Councillor Black, we go to vote.
We'll probably go by law, I suppose.
So we've got one against. Yeah. And we've got one abstaining. Two abstaining. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can't go against the law, can you?
You can't do.
Right, moving on to, it should get easier now, I think. Moving on to agenda item 16, and that is asset transfer between DDC and STC. We have received a note, and I'm just going to check. Councillor Black, I'll just pause for a moment.
No, go ahead, please,
Okay.
back a moment.
So we should, we've received a report on this, which I think is fairly self-explanatory. I don't know if we need to have much debate about these, but are there any points anybody wants to raise on these?
Proposed
No,
note.
we'll have to wait for the vote until Councillor Black comes back.
Can I just ask, are you having a break at 9 o'clock?
Yes, don't worry, I've got it in mind, I've got the clock in front of me.
Because I'll be the next one.
Yeah, don't worry.
Can I just talk about the shed
Yes, you can.
while he's out?
Yes, talk about shed.
The shed has been acquired, the shed at the back here,
Yeah.
community shed. We've been to look in there, there's not a huge amount in there. But there is an inventory which I'll be checking against. And Julian, the property manager, has ordered 11 litter pickers. And on the 28th of February, date for your diaries, we're going to be having a big litter picking day, morning, Saturday, as we've done in the past. Sandwich Spring Clean. Brilliant. So I'll be advertising that widely across Sandwich in Bloom, etc., and asking for volunteers to come out.
Is the shed staying where it is?
It's staying where it is unless anyone tells us to.
Yes. So the reality, and I discussed this with the town clerk, because what dawned on me was actually nobody owns that space.
Good.
So why should we be taking an instruction from somebody else who doesn't own the space? So at the moment, that's how we are. We're waiting to hear a challenge back as to why we should remove it. And until then, it's staying where it is.
Yeah, I spoke to, she hoped to come back, but she hasn't had anything, so.
Sorry, Councillor Tomlin, did you say something?
It was just with regards to the Sandwich Spring Clean, are we proposing that is for both wards?
For the whole town, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you very much. So,
At the moment, everything that's stored in there is supplied, like painted, that is provided by Dover District Council, isn't it? So that means we'll have to stock it as well.
no, they've transferred all what's inside.
Yeah, but what, I mean, the new stock.
Yes, we will have
Yeah.
to pay for new stock. That's correct.
Proposed note in the report.
Yeah,
Some second,
yeah,
Councillor Ripley,
yeah,
vote.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so if we just do the next item, then we'll break. So it's a review of the business plan, and we're going to receive a report on progress I think hopefully we've read through it. Councillor Wiles, do you want to pick out any particular points rather than going through all items?
I hope this is self-explanatory. The final column just gives an update on where we are with each of these items.
Yeah.
Just to update on number 5, which is about the asset management strategy. Julian, the property manager, has given me some further updates on this. And the first item there, rent reviews are in progress, drill hole has been done. The documents, there is some issue about locating documents, so that's an ongoing process at the moment, but he is endeavouring to try and make sure all those documents are in place. And in terms of the asset management strategy, he's working on that at the moment. So we need a clear strategy about whether we retain or sell properties or what we do with them in the future. And he's hoping to bring something back to this council in July with a clear proposal. So other than that, I think the rest of it is self-explanatory, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Propose acceptance, but also to add, I'd like to give my thanks to Councillor Wiles for the hard work he's put in on this.
Thank you.
I've got 3 points to make.
Okay, so we can't quite go to vote yet.
Can't.
Councillor Black?
Thank you. If we look at section 1, item 3, Manston is emerging again, and I do think we need to be very clear. It's not just Dover and Maidstone. We also need to be very well aware of Manston because of the noise. Now, they've said they're going to defer it now for a couple of years. They keep on changing the date, but the consultation on the flight paths is in March, and it's critical for this town because there will be a lot of objection from Herne Bay and from Ramsgate to Bleak Margate. Now, there's a limited number of places you can divert to, and guess what? Ourselves and Deal could well be overflown on many more occasions. So we really need to make sure that our voice is heard about Manston.
I agree with it.
I'm
all for it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything, no, hang on. I'm not saying anything for or against it. I'm merely saying that you need to be very well aware of the noise footprint. And that is something, I mean, the government has said it's going to go ahead. Whether they've got the funds, very questionable, but we need to be aware of the noise footprint, and that's a responsibility we have, and we should be consulted about it.
So I would say, Councillor Black, that's not relevant to the business plan itself, but what I would say is once there is clarity about issues, then you will be entitled to bring a report to the appropriate committee or to the full STC. So I think that's the best thing. Thank you for flagging it up, but I don't think we're ready to debate that if we need to.
I wasn't suggesting debate, I'm really adding it to the list. The second item I've got is in section 5 specifically. I do think that ensure all legal documents in place and so on. I do think we should get an annual report from the property manager about the state of fire safety, electrical safety, evacuation practices and so on for all of our properties. Whether we are actually responsible for each part of it or not, they should be working with the tenants. We do not want to have a situation where we cannot say hand on heart, we know what is happening in each property on an annual basis.
I agree.
Switzerland, I don't need to say any more.
I agree. And we have picked that up, haven't we, through committees as well? Yes.
And the
third thing.
I wasn't quite sure about 6.2, what this actually meant and why it was the Maddox Committee. Work with the Tollbridge Fund to review efficiency of the fund to ensure performance is optimised. And that's the Maddox Committee, it's surely both committees. And Tollbridge Finance.
But this isn't, we're in an STC meeting discussing.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yes.
But I'm saying that that we need to have both in there. This town plan is, in this aspect, slightly lacking.
Yeah.
Are you agree? In agreement, Councillor Wiles?
This is the plan that was agreed, so
Yeah.
it can be amended next year.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Very fun.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm interested. Perhaps the town council should look at acquiring more properties if they come available, because when sometimes you talk about our investments, I mean, you look at the drill hall, I mean, that's paying for itself, isn't it? So it might pay us, and the values are going up. If a suitable property comes along, we shouldn't just say no, especially if it's of interest to the town, it's an important building, that perhaps that we should purchase the building with a government loan, like we did with the drill hall, which is quite a low loan, So I think it's an interesting idea.
That's the purpose of the asset management strategy. It's
Yeah.
not just about managing existing assets, but whether there are opportunities for purchasing. There have been properties in the town which, in retrospect, perhaps we should have.
Yeah, drill a horse bargain, really.
Thank you. It's been proposed by councillor Carter. Somebody have a second? Councillor Ripley, if we vote on that. And that's unanimous. On the basis, the next one is the fringe subject of policies and procedures. We'll take a 10-minute break. 10? 5? 5 if it's, as long as there's not a queue. 5 minutes.
Go.
I'll tell you what, I need a bottle of port and a cigarette.
The recording is still on. There is no law that says you can't.
Yeah.
It's the same with any item here. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to do it.
You don't have a sensible agreement about flight paths. The actual direction that aircraft are going to turn, we're seeing able to turn them down. Plus, I circulated the report on the Ramsgate Times or whatever, it's not that years. Their budget, they put back into the church. Their budget has gone up, they're now seeking investors in Europe. And you've got the proceeds that have been built on
There was,
They keep sending me these messages
Yeah.
Just having the time and right mindset, isn't it? Work to what I
Yeah.
understand.
Yes.
Well, I know.
And it's extending. It's extending. It's going to the chances. It's not the only one.
I wouldn't be skilled showing your friend how to do it.
No, but I just think it would be nice for her to discuss with somebody and talk about it, because the family that she was next door on the motions.
It's no worse than I thought it would be.
Did you say about the February list for the trying to reduce the number of meetings?
But actually Jews change them to
Back to square one.
It's sort of become.
As if you could react if you want.
No, I don't know, unless maybe just because.
But I just think we would like to be able to discuss.
So there is a federal list from yet. Why couldn't we mirror March and they said it was on holiday?
Sorry.
I'm not saying you should now get the wall out.
I'm aware that March is going to be a problem, I don't know how to do this, I have to work it out.
We have to think about the layers.
Yes, that's
Other mediums.
Well,
Because you have to think.
yes.
I think we will. By early March.
Fine. You find that report on the annual 5 year
You've got morally advised.
Some reason, when we have
How many countries?
are not your comparisons. Really, they're really heading towards sort of, not quite regime change, but one step short of it.
You like that comment?
Because we've actually gone up by,
She was
by 4.
When?
I agree.
So one idea,
I was sitting here until you closed it half.
back to back. One starts at 6:30, one starts at
Oh,
7.
you like my comment earlier? I think that'd be
We should revisit the planning area.
Okay, sorry.
Not unsatisfactory.
Maybe
I've got it. I'll get my new work one tomorrow. My work one tomorrow. I've got the smoke, didn't I?
Can you carry this?
You're right, Jeff. You ain't going on my trips. Make your own way.
Well, maybe I'm waiting.
This is tactics. We're going to do that on the things of the mayors. Trip to Brighton, minibus trip to Brighton Hill counts as Brighton Hill council.
But that doesn't stop, that doesn't stop.
People, isn't it?
I did say.
In the same language.
Yeah.
Well, I said
You can have a multiple heritage landscape museum, quarterly on a different day. Yeah, as long as
Okay, we're still waiting for one councillor to come back, but as long as we don't go into voting until he returns, I think we do need to crack on, so he's just coming now in case. So, review of procedures and policies, agenda item 18. These have been to F&GP committee for discussion, and I'm hoping we don't replace some of the points made there unless they were agreed and have still been omitted. I'm hoping that we can get through these reasonably quickly, but Town Clerk, is there anything you want to say about these, because we've got them all and we should have looked at them?
Yes, the very key ones are the IT policy, and we really do need to agree and that this meeting, because otherwise we will not have it done in time for the audit at the end of the year.
So could I take any critical comments on any of the policies and procedures? I'll go from the top, so I'll do it that way rather than randomly going all over the place. So on the data protection policy, do you have any comments that need to be raised that are significant? No. Loan working policy, Councillor Black.
Thank you. It's the same point as I made before. And I wasn't talking about visiting people in their houses, but I really do fundamentally believe from the industrial experience that I've had in some very difficult industries, if you do not occasionally check on a lone worker's place of work unannounced, you are running a risk that you don't understand. And it's not in here. I raised it before. I'm really still unhappy about that. But I was never, and if anybody thinks this is they're wrong, never talking about checking people's houses, because home working is a different subject entirely.
It certainly isn't bad. So, and we did have a full debate, didn't we, regards this, and some of us had alternative views of the workplace and how it's approached. In terms of the guidance, what it says is that the decision of the town clerk, how they administer the assurance process that's needed for individual members of staff. So there is capacity within there if that's what they want to do and need to do, but it isn't explicit. Councillor
Yeah, I was
Carter.
just going to say, I tried to address this when I was in your position, and there was we bought the phones, the mobile phones, to support the lone working policy. But I do support Councillor Black, but obviously from the point of view is nowadays it's all done by technology. So for instance, I've got 2 people that work in my team, and I communicate with them via something called Teams. And so once a day I will log on and call them up by Teams, and you can check that they're okay. And it is, as Councillor Black said, it is a duty of care for this council to do, but let's do it technology wise.
So unless you want to make a proposal, but we did have a full debate, didn't we, in a committee level, so, yeah. So it's something to move on to the next one, the IT policy. Any significant comments on that?
I need training.
That's not a policy. Request for information policy. A website policy. Whistleblowing policy. Safeguarding and data security and bring your own device policy. Councillor Malloy.
Yes, in terms of the BYO, bring your own device. If you can just briefly run through it in a practical sense, because I've read through all this, and yes, I can decipher it. But for example, in my case, this is my computer. I use it for my business and my entertainment. Not saying what that is. But I also bring it into the council, and I have separately because I use Chrome and I use Mozilla, but I subscribe, because that's the way I try and do it. You just use the Microsoft Explorer for council business. Does that fit? Does that work for the BYOD?
That's fine.
It is. So you've got password access, first of all.
Yes.
Secondly, you're working in the cloud once you're in there in terms of the documentation. So as long as you're not then using that on personal emails, etc., and exchanging it, as long as you keep it within the environment that's there to use, you can use your own device.
Yeah.
It's about storing everything. All your Sandwich Town Council stuff needs to be done through your Sandwich Town Council email and saved in your Sandwich Town Council cloud space. And don't email documents to yourself to work on in a different area. Just keep it all, siloed.
Right. So just carrying on with the way I'm using it. So for example, I'm looking at the policies on one screen or one window, where I've got a second window with the agenda. I receive everything on the email, I download them so I can have 4 tabs. I just go from tab to tab to tab, but that is downloaded onto my computer. So this policy is on my computer, even though it's downloaded from the cloud for my convenience.
So I don't think that is ideally perfect.
No. So I'm being a bad person.
So the policy is you should be working in the environment in which it sits. Yeah.
So could I
Councillor Black.
ask the clarification then? For example, if I'm working on an Excel spreadsheet, I may well want to do it on my own machine rather than.
Yeah, so.
And this is where
Yeah.
the reality hits the buffers.
Yeah, and it was going through my head as you were saying that. So you might create something on your own devices.
Yeah.
But it only becomes council.
When I transfer it and obviously use the council email and everything else, and then that's on cloud
That's the
storage.
point at
But I
which it
might
then goes
do,
into the environment.
Or I might even do the word processing first, the first draft, but the final version
Yes.
comes through.
Yes.
And that would be acceptable.
Yes, it would.
Thank you.
But Councillor Mallett, the council documents, the meeting documents are already published, so they're public documents. So
Yes, to the public.
One of them is the confidential document there.
Well, that one.
That one shouldn't come outside the environment.
No. So that's what I was going to say. I've asked before about going to personal email, because I was waiting before we had the, because we used to have paper, didn't we? And then we had the iPads, and I asked that, and they said, no, you can't go to your personal email, especially, for the confidential matters.
Exactly.
So
if anything's in the public domain, there's nothing would bar you from having it on your own personal device, in your own personal environments.
Yes, I do fully appreciate that. So obviously, one of my tabs is breaking the rules. But in viewing something, we are by definition we have to download it because it is in what they call the cache.
Yeah.
So it's on my computer and it will remain there even when it's switched off. So it is, we can't get away from breaking the rules.
Sorry, when you open the email, the attached reports, you can look at them within the email, or you can download them onto the computer. If you look at it within the email, I think that's fine.
Preview. But in using the email, I'm opening, I'm then hitting close. It is very inconvenient and it takes longer.
So could I suggest that we need to refer this one back and double check it with our IT provider in terms of what we want to achieve and are we being compliant? So I'd like to suggest that we've been asked to accept, aren't we? So we've been asked to.
Could we just defer this bit?
Yes, that's what I'm going to say. So we've been asked to accept them. So I'm happy to propose we accept all the policies except for the final one, which needs some further clarity. And that's done, and then we bring back to the next meeting if that's okay, Town Clerk.
Yeah.
Okay, second. Councillor Carter, we vote on that. We do need to make sure we are compliant from them.
If I could just raise, two other items on that. There's one about, I think it's 7.12 about penetration testing.
Yeah.
That's not a normal practice for private users to undertake. And secondly, it doesn't say anything about shared use of computer passwords and logons, which I think should be in there. I didn't see that in there.
Councillor Clark, if you could email me your comments.
Indeed, I will.
Good point. Good point. Okay, moving on to agenda item 19, and this is to receive the latest update from DDC on the Wooden Bridge, which is quite a brief one, I think, if I remember rightly. I'd like to, just on Councillor Lyons.
And propose we receive the report. Work is going on.
Yeah.
Second.
Second from Councillor Green, we vote on that. Yep, and the work has started and it is progressing, so that's great. And then agenda item 20, Georgina Maddox Interim Fund. Council to receive a verbal update on the investor profile and trustee transfer for Harris Allday.
I think we're very nearly there. One councillor sadly has had to do his ID Me and his digital verification 4 times now. But we're hoping that this time it has gone through. All of the previous trustees have signed their form. So once that final councillor has got their ID Me through, I think we might be there.
Okay, good. And we've been asked to note this, are we?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's the second report, the second and final.
And council to receive a report seeking approval to run the second round, so we'll come on to that in a second. So on the first one, is someone happy to propose that we note that? Councillor Black, Councillor Morehouse seconded it. You could vote on that. Okay, and then we've got the council to receive a report seeking approval to run the second round of interim grant awards from the Georgina Maddox Fund. This was discussed at the Georgina Maddox Management Committee, and it was proposed that we should run a second round that mirrors the first round that we undertook in the latter part of last year, with one proviso, which is that successful applicants last time are not able to apply this time. So that was the proposal. Are there any comments on that before we go to the vote? Councillor.
I just wanted to say, we had a lengthy discussion with this regarding this, and it was quite lengthy, but we all agreed in principle with this. As I said, this is purely for other organisations to take part that didn't take part in the first time. I do believe that the Maddox Management Committee will be speaking to schools as well at the point to speak to them, see if they wish to take part. It's pretty much exactly the same as last time, apart from the people that applied for it can't apply for it anymore.
And just to clarify, the fund available will also mirror last time, which was 70k. On the point made by Councillor Marie regarding schools, I've already reached out to all the schools, and I already have had positive responses from them, not surprisingly. I'm having one-to-one discussions with headmasters over the next couple of weeks on it.
Will unsuccessful bids from the last round be able to reapply? Or is the window shut?
Yes.
Is the answer. It was only those that had successful bids.
Okay.
Anything else? If not, is somebody happy to propose?
Propose.
And Councillor Morehouse has seconded. If we're to vote. One abstention. Okay, moving on to agenda item 21, confidential matters. To resolve under the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960 and in accordance with Standing Order 7.3.2 to exclude the press and public on the grounds that publicity would be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be transacted. The Council has a duty under law, for example, as employer, to individuals whose personal data or other confidential information is required to be or is likely to be discussed.
Propose.
And Councillor Morehouse has seconded. Didn't even finish the sentence.
We don't
Vote on that. Councillor Anderson, are you in agreement?
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry.
Just trying to find it.
That's all right. Okay. And just before we do move into that, I can just say the next meeting, which is a quarterly council meeting, is on Monday, the 23rd of February, 2026. Thank you.